Is there anything I need to do over here?
I'm gonna try sending him
Okay,
Helen's computer.
okay.
Okay, welcome everyone to the November 12th, 2025 regular meeting of the Scarborough Zoning Board of Appeals. The meeting will come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are offered. Please notify the chairperson if you are unable to hear or to see. The board works from a prepared agenda and will be considering tonight's items in the following order. We will start with approval of the minutes of the September meeting. We'll then move to approval of a written decision for appeal number 2785, an appeal from involving 4 Jamestown Circle. We'll address appeal number 2786, an appeal by Samantha and Matthew Beaton, which was tabled at the September meeting. Move to appeal number 2787 from Tom and Pam Torre. And then to appeal 2788 on behalf of Soroy and Jennifer Mello. And then we will turn to our closing items. All right, I am going to call the roll. Why don't we start with the folks on or the folk on Zoom. Oh,
Can you hear me? It's Peter Freilinger. I can't.
so Peter, I was reminded that I am taking items out of order. The next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'll now call the roll. Mr. Freilinger.
I'm here if you can hear me.
We can hear you. We can see you.
Great. I can't see you, but I can hear you. Oh, there you are.
Do you mind muting?
That might be. I just muted myself.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind, Peter. Ms. Stevenson,
Here.
Mr. Campbell,
Here.
Mr. Silkman,
Here.
Mr. Bork,
Here.
and I am Kyle Noonan. I am also here. I will be stepping in and chairing tonight's meeting. Okay. We'll move now to the approval of the September 10th, 2025 minutes. Has the board had a chance to review the minutes? Do we have any revisions there too? Hearing,
I move we accept the minutes as written. Seconded.
all those in favor? The minutes are accepted. Approved. Okay, moving on to our action items. The next is approval of the written decision for appeal number 2785. This was a limited reduction of yard size residential appeal from 4 Jamestown Circle. Has the board had a chance to review the proposed written decision? Do we have any comments? None. Okay. I would accept, I'm going to move that we approve the written decision.
Second.
All those in favor? Terrific. It is approved. Our next item is an appeal that was tabled at the September 10th meeting. This is appeal number 2786, practical difficulty variance, appeal by Samantha and Matthew Beaton, 31 Chamberlain Road. I missed the meeting, and can staff remind me what, so they did not respond to a request that they update the board on the status?
That is correct. So it was tabled for 2 months at the September meeting. And their staff sent an email to the appellant asking if they'd like to submit materials for this submittal period for this meeting, and they did not respond. So this would be an opportunity for the board to, if they choose, table this for December to allow the appellant time to potentially submit materials for review.
Okay, I guess we could also just deny the appeal, but I would be inclined just to table it. Any discussion? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I move that we table the meeting until December, or table the appeal until December meeting. And second it.
All those in favor of tabling the appeal? Terrific. Appeal number 2786 is hereby tabled till the December meeting. Okay. Our next item is appeal number 2787. This is a limited reduction of yard size residential appeal by Tom and Pam Torre involving 28 River Sands Drive. And so are the appellants here? Okay. Remind me that the order we go in is we ask them to describe the appeal, and then we open up to public comment. Then we get to ask questions of the appellant. Or do we ask questions? We get to ask questions once they're done,
I believe.
then
yes.
public. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you folks don't mind just going through your appeal briefly, just so that there's no need to spend a lot of time on it. We have your written materials. If you don't mind just going up to the podium here.
I had some additional pictures to hand out. I don't know that I have enough copies because I had to drop off 5 in the initial submission. So I thought 5 would be enough.
Share.
I
But
think that's enough.
I don't know that technically we can speak.
I was told
Oh,
there are things
okay.
says you're allowed to bring additional information.
Yeah, well, we can take a look at it.
So
Thank you.
they're just pictures of our property. So,
All right. Are you ready for me to begin?
Yes, please.
All right, so my wife Pam and I live at 28 River Sands Drive, which is basically at the end of Pine Point. And we want to add an 8x6 shed to our property. And our property is somewhat narrow and a little bit of a weird configuration, and we're right on the water. So it kind of constrains where you can put the shed. And we basically need to get a variance to allow us to put the shed a little bit closer to the side property line than what the requirement is. And essentially what we're asking to do is to be a distance of 10 feet 3 inches from, I guess it's the northwest, the northerly side of the property line. So that's basically what our ask is. In the pictures, the sketches that I shared with you, we can get the shed there in that location with those variants 10 feet 3 inches. There was an ask in your notes about, are we going to be set back 40 feet from the property line? And what I'd like to do is ask you to take a look at the pictures I gave you. And if you look at the picture in the top left, you'll see scooters. Where we're putting the shed is just to the left of those scooters, okay? And if you look at the picture to its right, where the scooters are again, you can see a yellow line on the ground. That yellow line shows the outline of where the shed would go. And basically, the shed is essentially aligned with the front of the steps, which was approved to be the appropriate setback from the street. So this shed is no closer to the road than our steps are in this picture. So I think we basically meet the requirement that we are at the 40-foot setback from the road. And that was done just a year or so ago, and done by an architect who's Mike Richmond, and Mike's firm did all the work and had it approved that the stairs that come down onto the front of the house are 40 feet from the street setback. So our shed would be within that 40 feet restriction.
Do you mind going through each of the criteria for the appeal? Just explain why your position is that the appeal satisfies each of the criteria.
All right, I'm not sure I know what each of them are.
It's in, you address it in your written application.
Okay, I have to step away and.
Yeah, yeah, please.
All right.
So if you don't mind just going through the,
Right. So it's section
read
C of
through.
the application.
I can also pull up the application on the screen if.
Sure, that'd be great. Yeah, if you don't mind. Apologize, it's my first time doing this, so I'm new to the process. Hopefully my last. Right, yeah, section C. Right, yeah. All right, so the existing building or structures on the lot for which the limited reduction of yard size residential is requested were erected prior to July 3rd, 1991. Yes, the house was erected in the late 80s. I forget the exact date. I think it was 37 years ago. So who can do that math? I think it was 88. So it was built prior to July 3rd, 1991. Okay. Question 2 basically asked, do other houses in this community have sheds? And basically, yes, many of the properties in our community have storage sheds. It's a common thing. Some properties have 2 or 3. Okay. Question 3, due to the physical features of the lot and the location of existing structures on the lot, it would not be practical to construct the proposed expansion, enlargement, or new structure in conformance with the currently applicable yard size requirements. It is not possible to position the shed on the property within conformance. We have the restriction of the distance to the street. We have the setback from the water, and then we have the setback from the side of the house. So this is the only scenario that works. Okay. Number 4, the impacts and effects of enlargement, expansion, or new building or structure on existing uses in the neighborhood will not be substantially different from or greater than the impacts and effects of a building or structure which conforms to the yard size requirement. Essentially, the shed will be painted the same color of the house, and the design and architecture of the shed will match with the home, so it will not stand out in any way, be I don't know what a better word is than eyesore. It will blend in with the rest of the property. It will fit in really well. If you look at the pictures that I shared with you, if you go to the bottom left quadrant, you can see that there's a big tree to the left of where we're going to put in the shed, so it will kind of block it. If you go to the bottom right, you see that there's more shrubbery and greenery around that will also block the majority of it. And if you go to the bottom, the second page, there's one more picture that shows you if you kind of step onto our neighbor's property, that there will be shrubbery that blocks the shed. So it will basically be sort of, kind of wedged between the shrubbery and our house. And the only real view will be from the top left picture where you see the scooters. That will be really the only view of the house will be from the road. Of the shed will be from the road. Okay. The applicant has not commenced construction, absolutely not. And it's we're going to buy a kit and we're going to basically buy something from Lowe's and assemble a kit, and it's going to be a do-it-yourself project.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board for the applicant?
Just one quick question. You requested a variance on the side.
Yep.
And you don't actually know specifically from any of the material that you've given us that you will be exactly 40 feet.
I did not know when I submitted this, I did not know that I had to answer the question about 40 feet when I submitted this original one. The only reason I knew it was because it was in your response.
Yeah.
And then I went out and measured, basically. My assumption was because we were where the steps were, and that was approved in a prior process as being 40 feet setback. The shed is at the same line with the end of the steps into the house. So my assumption was that it was set back correctly, but I went out and measured, and it was basically 41 feet, 3 inches from the property line on the road. So
To where the pavement is?
nope, to where in the plan that was done by Mike Richmond's process, I can see exactly where our property ends. And I went out there with the tape measure and measured, and it's 41 feet and change.
Enough.
Mr. Bork.
Okay, regarding the setback of 4 feet 9 inches, I have a question. Could you be more specific in terms of telling us what the setback is for each of the individual points of the shed that abut that side property line?
Give me a second, and I don't know that I could tell you that answer specifically. The 10 feet 3 inches was the one part of the shed that was in violation because the shed's 8 feet 6 inches, 8 feet by 6 feet. So the angle of the shed, the other side was beyond the 15 feet. It was just the one point of the shed that was 10 feet.
Okay, well, that's my point is, it appears that, the two corners that abut the property line that you're asking relief from are not equidistant.
They're not.
Different.
One's greater. The one I gave you was the lesser distance.
That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Okay. And that was the comment about it not being square, right? That was the point in the comments that the angle of the building was not square to the property line, but it was the ask on the reduction is the closest point, not the furthest point. Other questions?
We have anything else from the board? Mr.
Sorry.
Freilinger?
Oh.
He's still with us.
Oh.
We still have a quorum without him though, so, okay, all right.
I did
Well,
have
he'll
one
find his
additional
way. Mr.
question,
Bork, please.
You don't mind. Okay, you talk about there is a setback on your rear property line because you're right on the water. there.
Correct.
Okay, so how close does that come to your home?
The setback from the water is 70 feet, I believe, and we are outside of that 70-foot distance. I can't give you the exact, that would have to be a follow-up measurement that I have to come back, but I know it's outside of that because when they rebuilt the house, the work that was just done on the house a year ago was outside the distance from the water requirement. So I know,
But you're saying that it's not enough that you could put the shed behind the home?
it's not, I can't build in it, right? Because if I put it behind the house, I would be in the zone where you can't build.
Okay, so assuming in how you position the shed, that would be 8 feet on the shortest side?
Say that again?
Would that be 8 feet on the shortest side if you were it's an 8 by 12 shed, is that?
It's an 8 by
correct?
6.
Oh, 8 by 6, I'm sorry.
That's 8 by 6.
So, okay, so 6 feet, if you position it, if you could bring it right up to the home on the back,
Right.
okay? 6 feet out, would that encroach upon that line?
There is no place on the back of the home to put a shed that doesn't block a door or window.
Window,
So,
how is that important?
so I don't know how to describe it. I don't have a picture, but if this is our home, right? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go. All right.
Would you like the
So-
closer,
I'm sorry?
would you like the, well, go ahead.
I'm okay. Yep, thank you. I didn't see the picture up there. So basically, as you look towards the top of the picture, essentially the water is right where those lines are in the back, right? There's a seawall there that protects the property. And essentially, the 70-foot distance essentially just about comes to the house, right? To where you see the grade marks for the house. Again, I don't have the exact measurement, but that's about where it comes to.
You stand back by the mic, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You up.
Yep. So basically the 70-foot zone comes to just about to where the gray or dark color is that marks the house. And I know this because Brian gave us feedback that we couldn't extend our deck out beyond that point. So we weren't allowed to go any further close to the water. So where the back of that house mark is, you can't go any closer to the water. What I meant by the window on the house is the outside line that you see is a deck. The inside line is the house. The entire back of the house, the only place you could put this is underneath underneath that deck is the only place back there you could put it. The entire back wall of the house is all windows and doors. So you would be putting the shed against the house, against windows and doors, and that doesn't make any sense.
All right.
Based on your look, I don't think I'm making any sense to you.
Well, no, I understand, but, and that makes sense in a way. However, I think that your point is that you were told by Brian that you could not go any further out.
Right,
Okay, you were already at the property line where your deck
right,
is.
right.
So there is no room.
To go towards the water. So
Exactly.
at the end of what that diagram shows, I
Yes,
cannot go any closer to the water.
okay, well, that makes sense to me.
Yep.
But the part about windows, I didn't quite understand that, how that had any relevance, but
So,
it doesn't matter because you can't build it anywhere.
well, so, I,
Yeah.
We're too close to the water.
right,
That's all
Bill,
I was trying to do is I
Okay,
want to determine that,
yeah,
I want to determine that there was no possibility of building in the back at all.
there's no possibility to build in the
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you want to let us build in the back and be close to the water, we would accept that decision.
No.
Can I chime in with a question too?
Sure.
So what is, if the shed were just to be located roughly where it is,
Mhm.
a little bit closer to the house?
Yep.
Couldn't the setback issue be avoided altogether?
You can go a little closer to the house, but you can't go all the way to the house because there's access to the backyard right there. There's a gate and entranceway. And right in that part of the yard are propane tanks, emergency generator, and a couple of other things that service folks need to get access to. So it can't completely block that access point. Where the blue boxes that is the shed could go a little closer to the house, but it can't go to satisfy the 15-foot requirement.
And so all this other area that we're looking at right here,
Yes,
there's no spot that you could, because we're talking about from where that says deck, that line that says deck, all the way back.
right.
There's no spot.
There is not a spot that you could have appropriate egress and have the shed
That's
there.
what we're trying to determine, right? So that you've looked and you've said,
Yes.
this is the only spot we,
Right.
we want to see that there's not possibilities that's within
There-
that setback.
There's not a possibility of any other spot because there's trees and there's a generator and other stuff over there on the left side. And
Because by these pictures, they don't tell the whole story, but they
Right.
do kind of look like you have quite a bit of space right there on the side of the house.
yeah, you can't get
Right back
15, you
there.
can't get 15 feet away from the property line and put a building there and still have egress around it.
Can you come up to the mic if you're gonna?
We have a little bit of a strange property line. I don't even know how to explain it,
Doesn't
But-
doesn't.
but we're not allowed to put a shed on the other side of that dashed line because of the deed that our neighbor has with that property, right?
So are you allowed to put anything?
Yeah.
You're right on that dotted line. It's
But that's in the front on our, but you were saying to the side.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So the dotted line that my wife is talking about is the dark line that the dark line that shows the property line. There's two lines to the right. The one all the way to the right is a fence that used to be there that is not there anymore. And that was just documented when this was created. It's the dotted line between the two, right? Yeah, which I think someone was just about to point to, that one. We have to be, in that part of the yard, we have to be 10 feet from it, right? In the backyard, we can't be more, closer than 10 feet. And there's no way to get a building back there and make it work. I can come back with pictures and drawings and stuff to show you that, but there's no way that it could work.
I mean, I wish we could.
Yeah, that would be our preference, because then it wouldn't be out in the front of the house.
Front of the house. I mean, I wish we could tuck it in somewhere better.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the board? Mr. Bork?
I'd like to just make a comment. What you're requesting is something that we can do. You know,
Okay.
We can allow a 5-foot variance,
Mhm.
and you're right there with 4 feet 9 inches. And, we've explored all the other non-options as they
Yeah.
are. So, yeah, I think we've really come to the point of, through our questioning here, that this is really the only reasonable way of dealing with it.
It is the only possible way to do it. We would love to put it somewhere else, but we went through and looked at every single spot. There was really no way to do it.
Okay, thank you. I'll now open it up for public comment. Hearing none, I'll close the public comment section of the meeting. And let's begin our deliberations. Fellow board members, what are your thoughts on this appeal?
Well, I think that with some extra questions, we were able to clarify that there are not other existing options on this property, and they've demonstrated that this is the most feasible option to have a shed.
Mr. Stillman?
We should go through the findings, right? one at a
Well, I
time.
wanted to just get a sense from people where they were first.
I've already expressed my general comment.
I mean, do you want me to go through the findings?
No, I'm just asking what your general thoughts are. It's just
Well,
have
I
a
don't
discussion.
I think they've met every one of the findings,
Okay.
but we're gonna find out in a minute too, right? So,
Any other, do we have Peter back? Do not. Okay.
No.
I think we can start going through the findings.
Yep.
Okay, I will close the deliberation and let's go through each of the criteria for this limited reduction of yard size. First criteria is that the existing building or structures were erected prior to July 3rd, 1991, or the lot is a vacant non-conforming lot of record. Mr. Campbell, do you propose findings on this criteria?
I do.
Can you propose some findings?
I'm sorry.
I can just take this one. So I think we can make a finding that the house was built prior to July 3rd, 1991, and that this criteria is satisfied.
I think we concluded that initially.
Mr. Silkman, would you care to take the second criteria?
would you want to vote on?
We should
number
vote on
one
each
first?
one.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, vote. Can we take a vote as to whether the board finds that that first criteria is met? All those who believe it has?
Oh, wait, this should be a roll call.
Should this be a roll call?
Yes.
Or,
That's what we traditionally have done.
I think
And
you
Doreen
can
will,
up and down vote.
yeah, Doreen can call the roll.
Kyle Noonan,
yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Richard Silkman,
Yes,
David Bork.
Yes,
And Michelle Stevenson.
Yes.
The second criteria, Mr. Silkman.
second criteria is that the requested reduction is reasonably necessary to permit the owner or occupant of the property to use and enjoy the property in essentially the same manner as other similar properties are utilized in the zoning district. I think the applicant has demonstrated that most of the houses have sheds. The shed is not an unreasonable structure in this part of Scarborough. Most houses have them. So I think this criteria has been met.
Doreen, can you call the roll?
Kyle Noonan,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Richard Silkman,
Yes,
David Bork.
yes,
And Michelle Stevenson.
Yes.
The third criteria, I'll take this one. This criteria asks us to determine whether due to the physical features of the lot and or the location of existing structures on the lot, it would not be practical to construct the proposed expansion, enlargement, or new structure in conformance with the currently applicable yard size requirements. I think that we can find that this criteria is satisfied due to the location of the structure on the lot, the fact that the lot abuts the water, and the need to be able to reach the back of the building through the narrow side yard. I think that it is possible, it would not be possible to position the shed without needing the variance that is requested. Doreen, can you call the roll on this criteria?
Kyle Noonan,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Richard Silkman,
yes.
David Bork,
yes,
and Michelle Stevenson.
Yes.
Okay. Brings us to criteria number 4. Ms. Stevenson.
The impacts and effects of the enlargement, expansion, or new building or structure on existing uses in the neighborhood will not be substantially different from or greater than the impacts and effects of the building or structure, which conforms to the yard size requirement. So they are going to try to make it blend in as possible. It is in the front of the house, so they plan on having it, it's gonna be brand new. There's gonna be some trees nearby and it should blend in pretty well.
Doreen, can you call the roll on this?
Michelle Stevenson,
Yes.
Kyle Noonan,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Richard Silkman,
Yes.
and David Bork.
Yes,
Mr. Campbell, can you propose findings on the fifth criteria?
So the applicant has not commenced construction of the enlargement, expansion, building or structure for which the limited reduction in yard size is requested, so that the Board of Appeals is not considering an after the fact application. I would say yes.
Doreen, can you call the roll on this?
Kyle Noonan,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Richard Silkman,
Yes.
David Bork,
yes.
and Michelle Stevenson.
Yes.
Okay, do we need to now have an up or down vote on whether to approve okay. So Doreen, can you call the roll?
I move to approve
Oh,
this
thank you.
appeal
I'll second
number. I don't know the number of it, but this appeal we're talking about. Thank you, 2787.
Okay, let's have a vote on whether to approve appeal number 2787. Is this a roll call vote as well? Did this be? No.
It can be up
Okay.
and down.
Well, yeah.
This is the one that should.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Doreen, do you mind calling the roll on this?
Michelle Stevenson,
Yes.
Kyle Noonan,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Richard Silkman,
Yes.
and David Bork.
Yes,
Okay, the appeal is approved.
Very much. I also just want to thank, I believe Helen and I exchanged several emails, and Gloria and I did, as well as our torture on staff. Yeah, to help me this through, so thank all of you for your help. So before you go, Helen wants to remind you.
I do have a reminder for you. So having approved the variance, you'll still need to apply for a building permit. And you'll need to do that within 6 months of this approval, and you'll receive a certificate of variance within about 7 days. And that needs to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds with the county within 90 days. That would be,
Reach out to you.
Brian,
Get that
yeah.
done. So do I wait till I get the variance, or do I just reach out to you? Get started?
you can wait, give us a copy of that.
Okay,
Mhm.
and you will just send me the variance once it's available?
yes,
All right, good, all right, excellent.
yes.
Look forward to working with you on this.
Mhm.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great evening.
Okay, moving
have-
on.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
Brian, when we're going and doing the each individual, we don't have to do we can just do
It's
I'm losing
customarily
words
been done
here.
In the past that you do a show of hands on each of the criteria. And the chair usually announces whether it's unanimous or if it's not unanimous. And then when you do the up and down vote, you do the roll call vote. That's
Okay.
usually the way.
that's much faster. Thank you.
Right, yeah, okay. Okay, moving on to our next appeal, 2788, Practical Difficulty Variance Appeal by Mike Backman of Waterhouse Builders on behalf of Soroy and Jennifer Mello, involving 29 Driftwood Lane, I believe right around the corner, our last appeal here. So, and are you Mike Backman?
Yes.
Okay,
Hello, my name is Mike Backman, Waterhouse Builders, representing Seroy and Jennifer Mello of 29 Driftwood. Forgive me for the technical difficulties, but I think my cord is kind of screwing everything up with Zoom.
I think if you use it, you should be able to show things on this screen.
Okay.
And if you are able to share your screen on the Zoom call, that's great.
I don't know should I use the Zoom process or should I just unplug? It's already plugged in. It's been plugged in. You've been looking at my screen this whole time? And thank God my friends aren't text messaging me.
Oh, it might show differently up here because I've been seeing my screen
Yeah, but
on the other,
that's my
the other.
bottom of my screen and this is my
Okay,
mouse.
okay, got it. Cool. Interesting, yeah, wow. Very much, screens and screens.
all of us.
Yeah. So yeah, I would go ahead and stick with what you've been doing then, in that case, if it's the.
Forgive me, this is my first time at Scarborough.
Sorry, would it be? it's
I can plug back in if
easier
that
just to
works.
do The HDMI cord, yeah, just plug in and do it that way.
Yep. No, I think we're good. Just except for the room to move. All right. So let me just, okay, we can all see this. This is a current rendering of the existing house, and the blue box represents the bulk setbacks and height regulations, front and side setbacks on the property. I'm gonna go through all of our practical difficulty questions. The need for the variance is due to unique circumstances of the property. Yes, the variance is due to the unique circumstances of the property according to the current setbacks. The existing foundation is currently 30 feet from the front property line and not 40 feet. The granting of variance will not produce undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood. The existing foundation was built in 1965. It's very similar with neighboring homes on Driftwood Lane. Building of the existing foundation keeps us consistent with the neighborhood's existing character and will not decrease the value of abutters properties. The intended design is in keeping with the rest of the neighborhood and consistent with traditional character. The practical difficulty is not the result of action taken by the applicant or a prior owner. Correct. The current home and foundation were built in 1965 prior to current setback laws. Number 4, no feasible alternative is available for the applicant except for a variance. And this is the big one. This is what I'm going to speak most to, and probably come back to it. The only feasible alternative is cost prohibitive. If we are not granted this variance to build the current foundation, will incur excessive unplanned expenses. At the very least, we will need to build a new foundation and basement walls and backfill a section roughly 9 by 40 foot. And we can explore different variations of how we can not get the setback. So I'm going to move on to number 5. The granting of this variance is a result of bringing the granting of this variance will result in bringing the applicant's property more nearly into conformance with the surrounding properties. The foundation has been there for 50 years in conformance with the neighboring homes. This variance will allow us to build on an existing foundation, continuing to keep it in the current conformance that it is. Number 6, granting this variance will not have an unreasonable adverse effect to the natural environment. There is no adverse effect to the natural environment, especially by not disturbing the foundation of granting this variance. Number 6, the property is located in whole or in part within shoreland, is not located within shoreland area. No, it is not. Number 8, please demonstrate how the strict application of the dimensional standards of this ordinance to the property for which a variance sought would both preclude a use of property that is permitted in the zone in which it is located and would also result in significant economic injury to the applicant. Again, another point that I'm going to be speaking to, as we mentioned, relocating the foundation is going to be a significant expense. I think that's 8, right?
That's 8.
That's 8. So if we can just look at the existing house here in the existing front back setback here, and then we go to what we're proposing to build, staying within the same footprint of the existing house. The big hardship here is the cost of a brand new foundation. We could, remove that front section of the foundation and then rebuild a new section out back. We could demo the entire foundation and, build new. Not only that, that's an expensive cost for the homeowners. Not only the foundation, but the site work. There's a sewer line that's affected, the water main's affected. I think there's a gas line affected. So just speculating on at least $50,000 of additional costs. It's a very conservative number. It's just starting at that. Not to mention the additional work involved in disrupting what is a perfectly good foundation. It was with 2-foot panels. It's 7 6-foot height ceiling, no cracks, no nothing. It's in perfect condition. And it would be a shame to demo a perfectly good foundation just for the sake of environmental purposes and just, I was brought up to reduce, reuse and recycle. And if we look at the neighborhood, I think it's pretty consistent with, abutters. If I go a little bit bigger, I mean, this proposal section right here is kind of in line with a lot of the other houses, and if you look back across the street, it's very much the same. It's very much in keeping with what's going on in the neighborhood. In addition to the architectural stylings of the house, it's gonna be Dutch colonial style, very much like a lot of the houses being built out there. And that, I think, would conclude my presentation. If you guys have any questions.
Well, thank you. And I especially appreciate that graphic with the setbacks. That was nice.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is, you said the existing house is cannot be, I can't remember what the language is, but basically the existing house is like a complete loss, or
Yeah, I should have spoken to that, but yeah, the roof hasn't been maintained for years, so there's obvious evidence of mold and rot. Yeah, you gotta speak up, say your name. Hold up.
We have somebody that was there today from the town inspect it because we have to have it torn down. We originally hoped to renovate it and can't be saved. We had the person we hired it's gonna knock it down, met with the town today. And they actually suggested they put on a ventilator mask before they even went in the house. And they approved it being knocked down because they said it can't be saved.
thank you.
And that was our original plan. We knew before we went into contract to buy it that it couldn't be saved.
Other questions, Mr. Bork?
Yes, so as I understand it, the existing foundation is currently it's 10 feet in nonconformance to the front setback.
Yes, if I pull up the survey, which is right here. So this is showing our proposed, which is right on top of the existing foundation. So this yellow you see is the proposed structure, which is built over top of that existing foundation in the front you see. So this dotted line up front here represents the setback we are asking for, which is at 23'6". And this is the current setback line, which is 40 feet back here.
Why is there an additional setback required?
Sorry?
If you're
Because
using
this
the
front line is
existing
not the setback. The front, the upper line on top is the setback we're requesting.
Okay, but you're already at 10 feet from the out of variance, okay, which is grandfathered, I imagine. I don't know for sure.
I would hope so.
Yep. And so what's causing it to require additional setback?
Because we're currently there is this is the first, the stairs, the stairs are over
Okay.
the setback.
Why do the stairs have to be there?
On the new design, well, it's just in keeping with what's there now. So, I mean, I could,
You have stairs there now that are,
the stairs you see beyond the yellow there, that's the existing staircase, wherever my mouse is. That's the existing staircase.
okay, and that's within the, the 10 feet?
No.
Okay. Oh, so the stairs you have now are,
Nothing's
Even more.
conforming.
they're even more out of conformity.
Yeah, so back to the
Okay.
bulk existing.
Yeah.
So if I look at the bulk existing, this blue line represents the setbacks, and the green is my property.
All right, so hence, okay, since this would not be eligible for a limited yard setback variance, okay, it has to be a practical difficulty variance.
It's what we're applying
Yeah.
for.
So let's go into that a little bit. You said that it would be at least $50,000 more to make the changes in the foundation in order to do this?
At the very least, for foundation,
At the
because
very least. Okay, so it could be higher.
it could very much be higher,
All right,
yes.
well, the information that was submitted said $45,000.
Okay,
That's
I'm
not
sure
right.
I can produce an estimate that'll cost you $100,000 to do it,
Okay,
but
all right. Oh, could you please produce an estimate of the total cost of construction on this house?
I could right now,
Not
but
counting any kind of, changes in the foundation,
I'm not following.
not counting any changes in the foundation. What would this house cost?
To build?
Yeah,
Is it 850? Is that, okay.
okay. Well, we received a comment from our, Helen, I'm not sure what your title is, okay? But what was Helen, if you don't mind, could you please
Sure.
let everybody know what the estimate that you received from other builders?
Yes, so to provide some context on the comment that was provided in staff comments on this, the estimate was coming from staff conversations with builders, not in direct reference to this project, but just generally what rates might be in the area. And that estimate was closer to $500 per square feet, so bringing this cost up quite significantly. But as the appellant mentioned, you've also been provided with building estimates provided as supplementary materials for this meeting, which is what I passed out at the start of the
Okay.
meeting.
So I did a calculation using 45,000 because that's what was submitted in the application. And that $45,000, yeah, that's a big chunk of money. But just to put that in perspective, so the information that was provided by Helen, that's 3% of the cost of the building.
Of a staff member's projected cost.
Yes, and that's from several other builders.
Yep,
That's the number that she gave to us
okay.
for consideration. So that's 3% is, it doesn't sound very much compared to just 45,000. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think 45,000 is a nice chunk of money. But 3%, that's not a whole big of variance.
Well, I think it's more speaking to the fact that it's already existing. It's been there for years. It's in keeping with the neighborhood. And it's a perfectly good foundation that in my opinion, shouldn't be torn up.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mello. Thank you. Very good question. So the 3% was correlating to the price of the builder that you had. But the paperwork that we provided you, we purchased this lot basically knowing that we had somebody that was going to build it for a cheaper price. So at $250 per square foot, it works out to be about 8%. Is that right? I think.
Okay.
And then the other piece of this is, I'm not, we'll put the other diagram up.
So that's about
Well,
10%.
There's kind of it was a little under 10.
Yep.
But we are paying for about $550,000 worth of the cost. My parents are paying for $300,000 worth of the cost.
And the rest you're mortgaging?
Sorry?
Are you mortgaging the rest of that?
Yes, we'll have a mortgage, yeah.
I see.
So initially, we were just gonna build a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home that's about 2,000 to 2,200 square feet. My mother was diagnosed with Parkinson's not that long ago. So currently they live in Saco. The plan is for them to sell their condo in Saco and then they're gonna move in with us. So
Nice.
that's when Mike configured the portion that's behind the garage. That'll be their space.
Mhm. Okay.
So then the 8%. I didn't do
Alright.
the math on
It-
45,000.
Yeah, the reason I asked all these questions is with practical difficulty, we have to be able to assess, well, how much is it really? Okay. So it's important for us to have exact numbers in order to determine, what's the relative cost compared to, what are all the others,
Yeah.
And, well, thanks for helping with the clarification. Appreciate it.
We have, thank you. Any other questions here before we move to public comment?
Mr. Chair?
No, go ahead.
I just want to reiterate what Helen was trying to restate. When we received the original package, there was no estimated cost of construction for the total project. As I was reviewing the application and creating the staff comments, it, to Mr. Bork's point, was hard to determine whether 45,000 was a significant part of the construction cost or not. And that's why I only offered square foot costs that other builders were using. It had nothing to do with this particular project. There was no estimate of this project. It was a rough square foot cost. I threw that out there so that the board would go down that line of questioning and find out, as you've done, more information. Subsequently, in sharing those staff comments, which we do with every application, they had the opportunity to put some numbers together. It would have been nice if they had put those numbers together on the original submittal, but that's fine. Stuff gets left out all the time. I just wanted to put that in context. That wasn't an estimate of this project. That was a square foot cost. And I'm sure Mr. Backman knows that there are square foot costs out there.
Oh, yeah.
Houses that are upwards of almost $1,000 a square foot.
Mhm.
And he said he could get an estimate of the construction of the foundation that would be $100,000. So you have a $45,000, maybe $100,000. Again, as you said, it's nice to get firm numbers. It's the board's job to determine through their questioning and their deliberation whether or not they feel the information that they've been given meets that criteria. I just want to lay that out there. I don't want it misconstrued that we hired somebody to come in and give us an estimated cost for this project. That was not the case.
Yeah,
Fair.
understood.
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Silkman.
The other properties that are adjacent to you and along Driftwood,
Yes.
do you know about what those setbacks are? It was a little hard to see from
Yeah,
the
if I can go
diagram.
back to that, I usually work on a much bigger screen. So if I measure, this line right here, parallel off of this line, about 23 feet. I mean, it kind of skews off. A lot of these places blend off to the left there.
Mhm.
So by nature of where this house is located, they're already closer to the property. So all of their other neighbors, should this opportunity arise for them, they'll be able to rebuild right in place where they are. Where Ciro and Jennifer, just by nature of where that house was built, they can't rebuild on top of the existing foundation. And if had it been built further back, then, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be reusing that foundation.
But maybe wasn't clear. If I look on that diagram, okay. The houses that are on Driftwood,
Yes?
are they all 40 feet back from the road or?
No, so if I erase that line, if I drag a line that is 40 feet, and again, this is GIS, so, that's 40 feet. A lot of them are all non-conforming. And if I go across the street, which I think is fair to consider, this is 40 feet right here. So all of them are non-conforming as well. Not all of them, but a good amount of them are in the same unfortunate circumstance.
And the steps that extend out beyond that 10-foot line, are you using the exact same footprint as the current steps? That wasn't clear from.
Well, if I go back to the
discussion.
survey, if we look at the survey, because it's a lot cleaner than the GIS. So if I go to, not satellite, where am I? PNG. Okay, so this is the survey. So the yellow represents our proposed structure. And if you zoom right in, and if I take those tags off and we just look at this is the current survey, and this gray foundation represents the existing foundation. This little white step right here is the existing steps.
So the new step will be going out about another foot or two from the existing? Is that what I'm seeing?
That's, yep, but to this design, yeah. I mean, if I gotta put a new line. Yeah, about a foot or two, but I can get you. 23'6", no, that's that same line there. 25'9", so about 2.5 feet.
Follow up on that. So what's the purpose of the extension of the steps?
Just to get out to a landing when you step out of a front door, you have to have a minimum 3 foot of landing. You can't just come up to a stairs and have a 22-inch landing. So that's the reason for that.
I have a question regarding the existing structure. So roof is no good. Do you know that the foundation's fine?
Yes, yeah, we were able to see the foundation. We walked through the foundation and all the penetrations are, for the utilities are good too.
I'd hate for you to go through all this and then it'd be bad.
Just make sure
It
to,
was a good house at one point. It was built well at one point. It's just the roof has been neglected for so long. It would have been fine if somebody had put a roof on it, 10 years ago.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay, do we have any public comments? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment and move to the board's deliberations. What are our thoughts on this appeal? I mean, to me, the question is there a feasible alternative? In some sense of feasible, is it feasible to tear out or to expand the foundation and disuse or abandon or remove some of the existing foundation? I suppose, strictly speaking, I mean, it is physically feasible. It could be done on the surface of the earth. I don't think it really is feasible for the reasons that the applicant has said. Any other thoughts on this? Mr. Bork?
I agree. I think through our questioning, we're able to determine that well, first of all, the total cost of the project is lower than the ballpark estimates that we had from staff, which again, those were not actual estimates. They were just, based on what other builders are saying. And, we can't really go by that. This is what we need to go by, is what their cost will be. And, if you look at the cost of making changes to the foundation being at least 50,000, maybe more, okay, then yes, I think we do have a situation here where there's undue hardship. It's a cost of 10% of the building cost instead of 3%, as I originally calculated. So that's my overall comment on this. And I will say one other thing. It doesn't really change the character of the neighborhood at all, because the foundation is the same. The front steps is 3 additional steps down. Okay, it's almost negligible in bearing. So I really think that this will be the most practical way of being able to solve the problem.
Thank you. Any other thoughts, Mr. Silverman?
No, excuse me. This is a tough one. Practical difficulty is a fairly high standard in the zoning world. And, 3% of cost, I think when we started off, both David and I probably had the same general sense that 3% was not a practical difficulty. 3% is within the margin of error on any estimate on a house like this. On 45,000 on 1.4 million is not a serious issue in terms of cost. 10% starts to get closer to where we're a little bit less comfortable imposing that kind of a cost on people for doing something that will pretty much replicate the existing situation. I mean, clearly, if there were no house here and there were no foundation, you would be required to build 40 feet back. And you would have to bear the full cost of the foundation work that had to get done and everything else involved in the project. I mean, here we have a situation where you can do that. And to some extent, I mean, it's a little bit awkward. I mean, the applicant is benefiting from the fact that there's an existing house on that property. But for the existing house, they couldn't do what they're doing. And then they would have to then build a whole new foundation. So the concept of practical difficulty in this context, I think, is a little strained. It's tough to see the practical difficulty here. I'm not keen on imposing, any additional 10% cost on people to build, but I think in this instance, the requirement of the zoning ordinance suggests that there really isn't a practical difficulty. There is a feasible alternative. The feasible alternative would cost a little bit more money to do. And that's something that we might expect people to have to do in order to build on this property.
Though they do have, if we didn't approve this, they would need to relocate sewer lines, water lines, other existing lines, which incurs more costs. Was that
Well, I'm
not
ass-
also the,
And I'm assuming it's
which
within the
I'm just
45 to
going on
50,000.
practical difficulty.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just about the foundation, right? I mean, there's gonna be,
But
That's what I
again,
was expressing. We're starting at.
there's, if they can't, it's not just the $45,000, that's their practical difficulty. Cause that's just the base point. Then they have to relocate a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, it could be $150,000 to do all that.
you know, it
I mean,
could-
I don't know, but
It could be, but if it were, then it would be perhaps a practical difficulty.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting here is we just don't know that.
yeah. Well,
Well,
I
all we
just
have
wanted to
is-
add that, cause that's in the application, that not only is it a problem with the foundation, but if they have to do a different plan, then they have all these other things they have to consider.
But
And change.
again, if
There's no cost in here, in this, saying how much more it will cost, but,
do you know that? I mean, that wasn't clear at all to me. I thought. the
oh,
total
number
cost-
8. I mean, we can go through the findings, but
The
Yeah.
additional.
is that not what you're saying in number 8?
Yeah.
I guess
no,
we're
I-
not technically
I
supposed to
skimmed
answer
through
that
number 8 when
question.
I was reading it, but it's good because I knew you guys all had it in front of you.
Like, or did we not get a good understanding of what's happening? Like,
Yeah, we're starting at
so
50 grand.
if you can't use this foundation, it's not only just this is how I interpreted it, is not only the foundation, but you're gonna have to do another design that's gonna create more cost, not even just the foundation, but moving lines, moving electricity, I mean,
Yeah.
a whole bunch of stuff.
So.
Is how I interpreted that. I don't know.
Yeah. The world that I'm thinking of, Richard, is, I guess, the question is not, could they build this from scratch? Because obviously they couldn't. But if they were to buy that, if they bought the house and it was in decent shape and they were to just renovate it bit by bit, they could certainly do that. I mean, I'm thinking of this is basically just a maintaining of the status quo. And for them to have to essentially tear out the foundation or put huge, basically discontinue part of it and expand another part, I just view that as an impractical barrier. I hear what you're saying, but that's where I land.
Is it impractical because of the cost or because of the fact that you would have to do the work? I mean, the work, as you point out, is feasible to do. Right? I mean, if this were, I mean, when they tear down this house, right, the full foundation is going to be exposed. And at that point in time, relocating water, sewer, rebuilding foundation, it's all there. Right? I mean, if we were building this house from scratch, we would have to do that. They'd have to put in sewer, they'd have to put in water, the electricity, all of those things would have to go in. And I appreciate the fact that the existing foundation is there. And if it were a limited setback issue, like on the, I don't think there would be a concern at all. It's just the practical difficulty standard is a much higher standard in terms of allowing for a variance. Now, given the fact that it's, in the neighborhood, everybody else is close to the street, it's not going to disturb the character of the neighborhood. I think we're all satisfied there. The question, though, is whether or not, given the way that standard is written in the zoning ordinance, whether or not 8% of the cost of building a house is a practical difficulty. And I'm not 100% convinced that 8% was the standard that was intended to be the hurdle that once you hit 8%, no matter what you were doing, was a practical difficulty.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
Understood.
So I'm not quite there yet. I'm thinking about it still, but I'm not sure that we have met.
May I respond to that?
Yeah, we could reopen the,
Okay.
yes, please, briefly.
So what we're comparing it to would be just a blank lot with no utilities, no foundation at all. The Mellows paid for a property with a house on it, and they paid accordingly. If it was just a piece of land, it'd be a totally different value point. So they're trying to build a house with a house on the way. So, that cost of modifying it, I don't think it's a fair comparison to like just a developer building in a blank lot,
Yeah, I mean, it's, we can go back in time further and, maybe they overpaid for the property. That's not our problem. Right? I mean, they saw what they saw when they bought the property. They knew what they were getting into. And I'm not criticizing anybody's decision here. I'm just suggesting that, yes, we don't know whether, maybe they got it at a very discount price because they were going to have to tear the house down. And that was included in part of the cost of of buying the property. And that's not our business. We don't have to go back that far. All we have to do is evaluate the application against the standards that we have in the zoning ordinance.
And I do understand all that. But the 45,000 is the 8%, and that's the bare minimum. So if it ends up being 100,000, we could be talking 16%. It could be higher. So is there a certain cutoff that we needed to come in with a certain number, or
So
provide a certain percentage?
I'm actually going to, so we have been talking about this for a while, so I think we know where people, we know what the applicant's position is. I think at this point, unless there's further discussion from other members of the board, I think we should just move into a discussion of each of the 8 criteria and see where we land. So, any further deliberation?
Would you mind unplugging? Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to move to each of the 8 criteria for this appeal, and see where the board is at on each one. First criteria, Mr. Silkman, can you propose findings on this one?
Need for a variance. Excuse me. The need for a variance is due to the unique circumstances of the property and not to the general conditions of the neighborhood. I think that what we have here is a situation where the need for the variance is due to the need to reuse the existing foundation. And it's certainly not, it's not clear to me that it's not unique to the circumstance of the property. But for that foundation, there'd be no problem. And so I don't think this is a typical situation that we have where,
Mike, you can sit
thank you.
down.
I don't think this is a typical situation where we have, a piece of property for which there is no alternative where you could build a house of livable size and meet all of the setback requirements. I mean, here we do have a piece of property that is big enough. And so I don't think it's a unique circumstance of the property.
Okay. I am going to propose different findings on this one. Does the board want to vote on Mr. Silkman's proposed finding? Maybe that's the way to do it. I think we should, yeah. And if the vote is no, then I'm going to propose a different set of findings for this. But so for this one, I guess this would be a show of hands typically. Okay, so I think Mr. Silkman's proposed findings were that this first finding is not satisfied. Is that a fair summarization? Okay. So all those in favor of adopting Mr. Silkman's proposed finding that this first criteria is not satisfied, we see a show of hands? We have one, okay. So I think that Mr. Silkman's proposed findings have been voted down. I'm going to propose a different set of proposed findings for this one. I actually think that the need for a variance is due to the unique circumstances of the property. Because of the existing location of the foundation, and the impracticability, or the undue burden and the I guess impracticability of forcing the applicant to put in a new foundation and to discontinue use of the existing foundation. So I propose that this criteria is satisfied. All those in favor of adopting this finding, we have a show of hands. We have 4.
I would just like to also add that I think its uniqueness is that it's non-conforming now, and it has been before, these laws were enacted. So that's why I see what you're saying, Richard, but I do think that and I think that we're gonna see a lot of different opinions going down the line here, but with it being unique, I think that it has been met. Sorry, I know we had just voted on it, but you
Yep.
didn't give anybody any option to
Thank you.
make other comments.
Thank you. Let's move on to the second criteria. Shelley, do you want to propose findings on this one?
Sure. The granting of a variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood and will not have an unreasonably detrimental effect on either the use of or fair market value of the abutting properties. So, the design looks like it's going to, fit in with the neighborhood just fine. I don't think it's going to have an undesirable change as they are, going to try to use the same footprint and then add on to the back, which from the maps looked like a lot of properties have kind of like an L shape there. I think it's pretty consistent with the character and will probably improve market value for everyone.
All those in,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I'd like to just add to that. The applicant was able to show us, to demonstrate to us that there's a mixture of homes in this particular neighborhood that either conform to the front setback and those who don't conform. It's not, it's not as if they all don't conform. So by leaving the home on this foundation, it keeps it in conformance with the general feel of the neighborhood. So, I think that's very important for us to, if we were to say, you got to move the foundation back. Well, okay, I can understand, from one point of view, all right, because it adds cost to it. But at the same time, if we're looking at the character of the neighborhood and the desirable effect of what they're doing here, it's going to be a very nice looking home. And because of the fact it's on that foundation, doesn't really change things at all relative to the other homes around there, which are really all different because of the change in the zoning. Well, before this predates zoning. So it is what it is.
All those in favor of adopting the proposed findings that Shelley proposed and that David added to? We have a show of hands. Okay, looks like we're unanimous. Third criteria. Do you want to go ahead and take this, Mr. Campbell?
The practical difficulty is not the result of action taken by the applicant or prior owner. I think we've already expressed that the existing structure and the foundation were constructed in 1965, which was prior to the current setback requirements.
All those in favor of adopting this proposed finding? Okay, unanimous. The fourth criteria, I'll propose findings on this one. No other feasible alternative is available to the applicant except a variance. So the question here is whether there's a feasible alternative. As I said, I guess in some strict sense, you could, it is possible with engineering technology to propose to put in a foundation on the face of the earth that complies with the setbacks. I don't think it's really feasible. I think that it's expensive, and it's too expensive relative to the cost of the project. I also think that the tiny additional bite into the front setback caused by the larger steps are necessary, as the applicant explained, due to a modern requirement of a 3-foot landing at the top of steps. And in addition, there's no feasible alternative because the applicant would need to relocate the sewer line, the water line, and also because the existing foundation is perfectly serviceable. Mr. Bork, would you like to propose
I
some
would
additional
certainly
findings?
like to add the word practical to feasible. So it's neither feasible nor practical.
All those in favor of adopting these proposed findings, can I have a show of hand? 4, all those against? 1. Okay, the 5th criteria, Mr. Bork.
Technology. The granting of the variance will result in bringing the applicant's property more nearly in conformance with surrounding properties. Well, the applicant has demonstrated that building on the existing foundation will allow the new structure to conform with the surrounding neighborhood. Again, there's a mixture of how far homes are set back from the road here, their front property line. And that's really the important thing. It doesn't really change the character at all by leaving it the way it is.
All those in favor of adopting this proposed finding? Okay. Unanimous. Criteria number 6, Mr. Silkman.
The granting of a variance will not have an unreasonably adverse effect on the natural environment. We have an existing home there. We're going to change the nature of what's above the ground, but we're not going to change what's below the ground. So the variance would not have an unreasonably adverse effect on the natural environment.
All those in favor of adopting this proposed finding? Okay, unanimous. Number 7, whether the property is located within a shoreland area. All those in favor of finding that the property is not located in a shoreland area? Show of hands. Okay. The 8th criteria. I'm going to take this one. Demonstrate how the strict application of the dimensional standards of the ordinance to the property would both preclude a use of the property that is permitted in the zone in which it is located, and would also result in significant economic injury to the applicant. So I think we could propose a finding that the building costs of having to basically put in a largely a new foundation would increase the cost so dramatically that there would be significant economic injury to the applicant, and that would have effectively preclude the applicant from use of the property that is permitted in the zone. All those in favor?
Can we have comments on this one?
Yep.
Richard, you can go first.
The way this is written, it's written as an and. So you have to make both findings. You can't just make one, right? So the first says that application of the ordinance would preclude the use of the property for which it's permitted. And I think they've already demonstrated that that's not met, that they can build the house on that property within conformance and not have to worry about getting a variance. So the first part of it isn't met. Your argument about the significant economic injury to the applicant is met in your mind. Whether it's met in all of our minds, that's another matter. But you have an and in order to find an and, you have to find both sides, both pieces true. So unless you find that they cannot build their house on that property without violating the dimensional requirements, you can't accept number 8. That's how I read number 8.
Tend to agree with you on that, and I'm glad that you said that way more eloquently than I was going to. I think that we need to, at a later date, have a conversation about what, percentages deem a significant economic injury.
Well, I don't want to get
But-
too far afield. I mean, I
No,
think
I don't want to go into that right now either, but I do think that it's difficult to prove that they can't use this house without having the variance, because they can. So I'm gonna be a no on this one, just a heads
Okay.
up.
Let's take the vote. I am proposing findings that this criteria has been satisfied. All those in favor of adopting those findings? 3. All those in favor of finding that this criteria has not been satisfied? 2. Okay. Still no Peter, okay. And now we need to vote on whether, is there now a separate vote on whether the appeal itself is approved, or is that? Yeah, okay. So I move that the board approve this appeal. All those in favor?
Second.
Oh, thank you. Doreen, can you call the roll on this?
Michelle Stevenson, Kyle Noonan,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Richard Silkman,
No.
and David Bork.
Yes.
So was our vote 3-2?
Yep.
Okay, the appeal passes, or is approved 3-2. Thank you.
Same reminder as well for needing a building permit, now that you'll receive the certificate of variance within about 7 days, and you'll need to record that at the Cumberland County of Deeds, at the Registry of Deeds, or County Registry of Deeds, within 90 days of receiving the certificate of variance, which I'll send to you. And you'll need to apply for the building permit within 6 months of receiving the variance. So that's the process. Yes, I'll be sending you a PDF, basically, that'll be the, or I think Doreen will be.
Certified.
Certified, yeah. So expected
Yeah,
email.
you'll be receiving a paper document,
Sorry,
okay.
yes.
and that needs to be notarized and then taken to the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds. And that
Thank you,
needs to
Fran.
be recorded within 90 days.
But I'll reach out.
Thanks. Okay, last item. Zoning board comments. Do we have any zoning board comments tonight? The acting chair has no comments, I can tell you. So,
One comment. Yeah, not clear on whether or not we're gonna do remote meetings or not. It wasn't obvious from our original discussion about who was gonna be here and who wasn't, and whether people were gonna be remote or not remote, and whether Peter was gonna participate and vote. Do we have a formal policy on that, or is it?
Didn't we, if we go by whatever planning board does, or something like that?
I understood that the town had adopted a remote meeting policy, but I don't know the specific policies involved. We do have remote participation at planning board.
It
Occasionally.
was like one blanket for all the boards,
Yeah,
right?
the
Or
town-
something.
The town, originally, the board could adopt its own policy. As we recall, the board did not want to do remote meetings. One gentleman in particular was very much against the remote meetings. As things evolved and state statute changed, I think and I'm not sure of all the particulars, but as it evolved, the town council adopted a remote policy for all boards. is my understanding. And that remote policy, I believe, is on the website or within the ordinances or the charter. I'm not sure which. I can get you a copy, but long story short, my understanding is you can participate remotely. You can vote remotely as long as the public can also view remotely. So, and that's why we're doing the hybrid meeting. The public can choose to participate in the meeting by raising their hand and making comment, or they can simply view the meeting over YouTube and watch the proceeding. Counselors, board members can participate remotely as attendees, or excuse me, as panelists, and that can allow them to vote. I don't think we'd want to chair the meeting remotely. I think that would be very difficult. So thank you, Mr. Noonan, for filling in, because I think it would be very difficult to chair a meeting remotely, but you can participate remotely. I'm sure Peter signed off because he saw that we had a quorum and he was no longer needed. Hold up.
So that's the general policy then, and if there's a quorum, you generally wouldn't participate. I'm only asking this because I'm gonna be away from most of the winter, and I'm available if I'm needed, but if I'm not needed, then.
I think that Peter probably would have, if, like, you can
Okay.
vote, I mean, why not, right?
Sure.
But, if you come on and you say, oh, well, they've got enough going on, they've got a quorum, you can also just peace out,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah, that
I'm
makes a lot of
sorry, I
sense to
didn't mean
me,
to.
and I think it is, and we have been emailing before the meeting where we have a quorum one way or another, so I think let's just plan to continue doing that and, yeah, okay. Anything else from the board?
Mr. Chair, just to follow up, so if you're going to be gone for 3 or 4 months, if you want to remain on the email chain so that you're getting those emails, that way you would have an indication of, hey, we're going to be a couple of people short this month. You can let us know that you're going to Zoom in and participate that way. I think that makes good sense.
You should join anyway, just to provide your input.
On
all
the
right.
beach.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn this August
So moved.
board. We have a second, okay. All those in favor? The motion carries. Thank you, everyone.